For centuries, knowledge has been hidden in plain sight across the sands of time. Whispers of lost civilizations, cryptic symbols, and forbidden histories have been erased or concealed. What if the truth was never lost, but hidden? Welcome to Eye of Ancient Mysteries, where the past speaks and the future listens. Sit back, open your mind, and prepare to uncover the untold secrets of our world. Let the journey begin now. On a beautiful day, in fact, the day was beautiful around the Mediterranean, where what happened was about to happen, while in England, the usual rain was falling, not to mention Greenland, where incredible icy storms were raging. So on this beautiful day, the people whose job it was noticed a strange object approaching Earth. Within minutes, intercontinental meetings were held to decide what to do with the unknown object. But while a decision was being made whether to destroy it or not, the unsuspecting object calmly landed on the edge of the Baalbek Terrace. Its behavior was clearly peaceful. Immediately, helicopters from all over the world rushed to the Baalbek Terrace. When the first one circled above the enormous stone blocks, the pilot's voice stammered in amazement. "Commander, down there this egg is opening, and some kind of guy is emerging. A man?"
Yes,
"A man. He's stretching, as if he's been standing still for a long time. His clothes? God knows. I think he's just naked. Should I land? Well, it's probably dangerous, but someone has to do it, right? I'm landing. I'll try to make contact with him. Any other orders?" "Yes, I'll report everything. The guys are following me. My camera's ready." So the pilot, a reckless young man, not reckless to the point of carelessness, approached within 20 meters of the cosmic visitor, who was stretching happily under the sun, and shouted, "Hey, who are you?" The stranger laughed lazily and answered something that, to the pilot's greatest surprise, he understood. And after understanding, he was even more surprised, because the stranger was speaking in ancient Greek, and our polite acquaintance, the pilot, had studied that difficult and unpleasant subject for 4 years at Hector Ikonomidis's private school, where he had been sent by his grandmother, a Greek. So the pilot managed to hear, "Who are you?" Half a minute after recovering, the forgotten ancient Greek, mixed with a good dose of modern Greek, a gift from his grandmother and Hector Ikonomidis, resurfaced in his mind, and he replied, "I'm a pilot, and you?" "I am Odysseus from Ithaca, Greece. No jokes. Greece doesn't launch spaceships. Why not?" "Why?" "Because there's no capability." "You're speaking some incomprehensible words. Who taught you? Or maybe you're a slave. Which side bought you?" "I wasn't bought from anywhere, and I'm not a slave. What are you then? And who let you ride this giant dragonfly?" "What? What?" "It seems we'll have trouble understanding each other. You don't seem developed enough. A lot of explanation is needed for you. So, let's start from the beginning. Hold on. Let the boys turn on the backup tape recorders. Ready, go ahead. I was born in Ithaca to King Laertes and Queen Anticlea, and my name is Odysseus. Sorry, but no literary digressions if you please. Boy, will you let me speak or not?" Fine, go ahead. I performed many heroic deeds, and the blind old man sang of them. And when the end of my earthly days came, the gods did not send me to the Elysian fields like other heroes, but gave me back to Circe to be resurrected and made immortal. All of this is described in detail in the poem Telegony. Up to this point, human writings end, and my greatest and most unknown deeds begin. Hold on. Commander, are you listening? You don't understand. But I get it somewhat. I'm advising you. Somehow dig up someone who knows ancient Greek, so they can handle this better than I can in this mess. This guy here says he's Odysseus. That one, from the Iliad. He doesn't seem crazy, more like mocking us. Yeah, I'll continue, Mr. Odysseus, please. Go on. What did you call me? What is this? Courtesy. It means something like master. It's a common term. So now everyone is a master. Interesting. And who were you speaking with? One of the gods. That would be the last thing! A god! The chubby old man with the red nose! Sorry, Commander. I forgot you're listening, Mr. Odysseus. I was speaking with my superior. Do you understand? Something like your Agamemnon, unless you're fooling me and playing tricks. Fooling and playing tricks is a good thing, clever. Deceiving an enemy is a virtue and a great art. I am cunning and tireless in deceit. You know about the Trojan horse, right? Well, the gods appreciated my cunning and my ability to handle any situation. Actually, the entire Odyssey was a test to make sure the gods knew my exceptional abilities before entrusting me with the greatest task assigned to a human, wandering through the heavens. When they took me to Olympus, in the god's palace, there was a sense of gloom. The Thunderer sensed his end. Only you, experienced Odysseus, can save us, he said, and he explained to me the divine existence. Of course, the gods, and even the grandmother and grandfather of the Thunderer, Uranus and Theta, who later became known as Gaia, along with Basilia, Hyperion, Rhea, Cronus, Porphyrius, Agrius, and many others, had moved to Earth from somewhere in the distant past. And for a long time, wise Uranus ruled peacefully over the worthy Atlanteans. But when he learned that Cronus was planning to dethrone him, he sent the Atlantine queen. Oh, what was her name? In a smoky and rumbling pot to announce the upcoming coup. But the queen never returned. Uranus was dethroned, mighty Atlantis turned to dust and ashes, and the ocean flooded it. Cronus became king, but he too didn't escape his fate and was overthrown by his own children, who were born here on earth, led by Zeus. And now, the Thunderer himself awaited the birth of the one who would dethrone him. The doom of all the gods was coming, and I had to seek help to prevent such a sad end. For this purpose, Hephaestus had already forged a smoking egg. Athena had endowed the egg with the ability to fly. All that remained was for me to enter it, travel to where the gods had once come from, and deliver a small tube made of an unknown metal. I was supposed to travel about 500 years forward and another 500 back, and Zeus hoped to receive help no later than 1,000 years after that. So, Please tell the chief Olympian priest to inform Zeus that I've returned. Hold on. Commander, this guy here is talking who knows what. About God's space travels from 3,000 years ago. He's been somewhere and is coming back. Zeus sent him. Yes, that one, the same one from the Iliad, the one who thunders on Olympus. Damn him, excuse me, Commander, I'm really swearing, but put yourself in my shoes. Yes, fine. Yes. Listen, Mr. Odysseus, my superior will connect you to your Zeus, but you'll have to wait for the quarantine period. They'll come for you soon. Everything will be arranged. Just a little patience. You might sleep for an hour or two. Ah, you're waiting for a favorable alignment of the stars. Or is the sacrifice not ready? Fine. Oh, it will be wonderful to sleep under our old good sun! I hope Hermes brings me beautiful dreams. I deserve them. And Odysseus lay on a sun-warmed stone and fell asleep like a newborn. Meanwhile, the entire scientific world of the planet was on the brink of madness. 6 professors of classical philology were ripped from their usual composure, and together with a team of specialists and electronic devices, they pondered over the magnetic tape revelations of the so-called Odysseus. It was determined that his ancient Greek was flawless, and the logical structure of his sentences left no room for doubt. Meanwhile, the cosmologists, who were actually the only ones who remained calmer amidst this commotion, smoked cigars and exchanged opinions. With lightning speed, quarantine rooms were prepared. Supersonic planes and clumsy helicopters headed toward the scene, packed with all sorts of scientists. Their roar did not disturb the blissful sleep of the wanderer among the stars. It was necessary to wake him carefully and take him, still sleepy. He slept in the plane as well. A few dozen professionals stayed by the egg to photograph, film, and eventually take it inside a flying giant to escort it to the place it had been assigned. Thanks to the journalists, the event couldn't be hidden until it was fully clarified. Articles about flying discs were replaced with the new sensation, and Odysseus had to talk to the scientists via television the very next day. He was yawning, insisting that they let him sleep, and occasionally using words that were not recorded in the monuments of ancient Greek literature, likely for aesthetic reasons. Linguists were enriching the ancient Greek vocabulary. Chemists were expanding their knowledge of unknown alloys. They were studying the metallic body of the Ugg, and astronomers were intensively searching for an inconspicuous star of negligible size, called by Odysseus the son of Moira, which, according to him, had been the goal of his journey. The next day, the king of Ithaca became visibly animated when talk turned to his travels. It seemed he enjoyed watching the astonished faces on the video phone screen. He spoke of orange double suns, carrying swirling manes for millions of stages behind them, of their opalescent moons, of comets like spread peacock tails of silent, shivering planets that vainly orbited powerless stars, begging for a little warmth, of flocks of meteors slyly lurking to ambush the traveler, of caravans of asteroids. But those who asked him questions were only interested in one thing: Was there life out there somewhere?
Well, yes.
Odysseus replied, but may the gods not grant you to encounter such life! There are all sorts of monsters out in the sky. For example, about 600 years' travel from here, there's a horrible, miserable planet clinging to some weak sun, which seemed harmless to me. There was an endless ocean swinging on its surface, but as soon as I got closer, I noticed huge bubbles bumping into each other. Suddenly, one of them jumped up and tried to swallow my ship, but when Athena and Hephaestus do something, they know how to build it. The ship pierced the bubble. It burst into trembling tatters. These tatters were immediately swallowed by other bubbles, which rose together and rushed to chase me, but fortunately, they were incredibly slow, so I wouldn't recommend stopping at that damn ball if you ever find your way there. I named it Hydra because the gods didn't tell me its name. By the way, when will I speak with Zeus? All right, I'll wait. Another time, I passed by colossal funnels scattered on a colossal sphere. They emitted some incredibly beautiful zigzagging columns of smoke that almost killed me. This spot is about 780 years' travel from here. I wouldn't recommend stopping there either. And by the way, once I encountered a real beauty with white mountains, but I didn't notice any movement on it, with green seas and yellow burgundy plains. The inhabitants might be too small. In most cases, the planets are boring gray and black spheres, and the suns. That's where the beauty lies, not to mention the comets. And Moira. How did Moira look? Odysseus shook his head regretfully. To my sorrow, Moira wasn't there. How come she wasn't there? Are you sure? How did you determine her location? Athena had woven a golden spiderweb for me. If the agate spider deviated from the center, it meant I had gone off course. This happened when I curved my path to get a closer look at something. When I took the correct direction, the spider would crawl back to the center. When I reached Moira, the spider would sing a harmonious song. And so the spider sang, but before me there was no Moira. There was only a cloud of dust with a lonely sun shining through. The spider continued its harmonious song, and I thought that since gods are sometimes invisible, they might be floating in those clouds, so I threw the pipe through the designated opening. But no one caught it, and it followed the egg like a stray puppy. After circling around and listening to the spider's song, I decided to return. I turned the ship towards Earth. The spider fell silent, and it returned to its center. Since the pipe was following me, I took it back. The pipe later became a major concern for the scientists. Clearly, the gods had left Moira and destroyed it. But how did you see all of this? Your egg is opaque. Through Athena's magical crystal. You should take a close look at the egg. The crystal is connected by a thin beam to the surface. The beam sees, and the crystal magnifies. Didn't you suffer from boredom during such a long journey? What is boredom? The question was modified. What did you do in the spaceship? I observed the stars, and when there were none nearby I slept. For an immortal, It's nothing to sleep for 50 or 60 years and wake up without a headache. What did you eat along the way? Nectar and ambrosia. Food for 3,000 years. Where was it stored? In the egg. Look there are 2 silver vessels. I think there's still some ambrosia left in one of them. The chemists were excited. They anticipated new discoveries. How did you survive with such a small amount of food? When the gods feed a mortal with nectar and ambrosia, they become immortal and don't feel hunger for centuries. I ate no more than 7 or 8 times. And are you immortal now? Unfortunately, true immortality does not exist. Everything is relative. If even the gods feared their end, then immortality is essentially just a length of life beyond the comprehension of short-lived human minds. If someone lives 7,000 years, they will seem immortal to someone who lives 70. Mr. Odysseus, we had delayed this, but now that we've confirmed your vast understanding, it's time to tell you that your gods do not exist. I suspected as much, but I pretended not to know, so as not to offend them in case they are alive. Too bad for Athena. I don't mourn for Thunderer. I can't stand tyrants. But Athena was the most intelligent and beautiful being ever to inhabit Earth. You claim the gods really existed.
Ha! But I saw them.
Do you think I could have built an erupting smoke egg and flown for my own pleasure? Why didn't any of the gods head towards Moira? They were too heavy and large. They would have needed a giant egg and an ocean of blazing smoke. But the gods had already lost some of their power and could no longer create such things. And how did their end come? Was it age discord, or did a more powerful being than Zeus rise and overthrow him? Who rules on Olympus now? There was laughter. Odysseus was told that the gods didn't exist at all. This made him laugh heartily.
Ha! 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 So the gods wiped each other out and humans remained. Serves them right.
They came from who knows where, played with us like wooden figurines, treated Earth as though it were theirs.
Hey, the gods are dead, and Odysseus is still here.
It was worth wandering for 3,000 years just to learn such news. But they wanted to convince him that the gods were a fantasy, that they had never existed. Odysseus sulked.
Let's not deceive each other. After all, we are not enemies, are we?
There were gods, or at least they seemed like gods to us. If you, with all your power, with the flying machines you showed me, with the thunderbolts with which you can strike any part of the earth, with the thousands of other wonders you control, were to appear before some barbarians, you claim that there are still such people on earth. Wouldn't they consider you gods? Or if you disappear, wouldn't legends about you exist for centuries afterward? The gods destroyed themselves due to their disagreements, and that's for the best. And suddenly, worried, Odysseus asked, "And you who are now as powerful as the gods, do you live in harmony, in peace?" They told him that, unfortunately, people don't live in complete harmony. Odysseus grew gloomy. I thought that without gods, you would have become wiser. But you can destroy yourselves, just like the gods did. The interrogators somewhat guiltily confirmed and added that studies of his spaceship suggest that the dust clouds were remnants of Moira, destroyed by its own inhabitants. Moira shaped the fate of Earth, and now it's turned to dust. If you plan to do the same as the gods, let me know. I have smoke for about 200 more years. I'll fly off and find myself a more peaceful planet, although Earth is painfully dear to me. I have no intention of dying, because I am not a god.
I am Odysseus.
They reassured him that, for now, this danger was limited, and asked what he wished to do once his quarantine period was over, and he had told the scientists everything he knew. I am the king of Ithaca. I will rule. They gently explained to him that this was probably not possible. Well, I don't really insist on being a king, Odysseus replied. It's enough for me to be alive and free. Because when I spoke with the shade of Achilles, he admitted to me that it's better to be a plowman on earth than to sorrowfully rule over the dead. I will travel, find a nice spot, and somewhere out there, on some distant shore, perhaps my faithful Penelope is still waiting for me, and what more does Odysseus need? And Odysseus asked for people tools and timber to build himself a ship for new journeys. He had been informed that, in addition to Europe, Asia, and Africa, there were other continents. 2 by 2,